What's going on YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, we're talking about Batman and Robin, issue number 16. This one is written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, with art by Miguel Mendoza. I apologize if I butcher that name. But yes, so this is the continuing adventures of Bruce and Damian. It's part 3 of this Memento storyline, and I'm really digging the hell out of this. I think Philip Kennedy Johnson's crafting a pretty interesting story so far. I like the horror elements with Memento. There's definitely like this more of a threat fear factor. It's got like kind of a supernatural feel, or it could potentially be something along the lines of like a scarecrow fear toxin sort of deal. We don't exactly know 100% for sure, but it kind of feels like it's leaning into that way. So we got that aspect going on. We have the detective aspect, and we also got some interesting character work going on with Damian. So a lot of good things in this issue. So as it starts out, we have these kind of true crime podcaster type people investigating something at the remains of like Arkham or whatever. And basically they kind of get killed by Memento, who like inflicts his horror elements. And I really like the look of this Memento character. It kind of reminds me of if you kind of took the Babadook from that movie, The Babadook, and fused the design with the Crooked Man from The Conjuring and had the little top hat and all that. Like I said, it's a creepy looking design, and there's generally some pretty chilling, like dark, messed up moments in this comic book. And I'm really all in this stuff too, but it's not just that, it's the character work going on with Bruce and Damian. I think, like I said, the first issue really kind of set things like in motion, and like the second issue was it where the girl got hurt, and that's just been something that's just been plaguing Damian's like thoughts like ever since it happened. And like he's just kind of off his game. He's really just kind of like dwelling on that incident. Like it really left an impact on him too, how like he was kind of mean to her at one point, but then she like nearly died and she's in the hospital and that too, and he's just off his game. Like when he sees a dead body, he just sees like somebody he was unable to save, and it's playing a factor into him. Like he doesn't know if he really wants to do this stuff, because like it's just that feeling of guilt that's just kind of plaguing him. Like it kind of reminds me back when he like was there when Alfred died, and he really kind of blamed himself for the situation, and they went on this journey of kind of self-discovery, try to kind of like rekindle like the relationships between him and his family, like kind of mend those bridges, and they were in a good place like when they kind of got back to that stuff. So that's under Williamson, but now under Philip Kennedy Johnson, it's taking Damian a bit of a different direction. Like what is his life outside the cape and cowl? Is this always what he wants to do? And is it something like maybe he could become a doctor or something like that too? So I think because like he's been kind of reading Thomas Wayne's journals, and I actually think a doctor route would be a good thing for Damian to do like in the future. Like I don't want him to do just that. Like I still want him to fight crime, and I still eventually want him to become Batman. I think DC's kind of showcased a good future Batman for him, where he was kind of in control of things, but like still like really kind of grew up a bit too as well. But like if you can have Damian like doing kind of going into his like grandfather's footsteps of being a doctor and helping people outside of just his life as a vigilante superhero, whatever you want to call it, I think that'd be a good like option for him. I'd also like to see him be a vet. Like I think him just kind of helping people when he's like, you know, Batman or Robin or whatever he becomes in the future, or just as Damian, I think that would be kind of a good option too. So we also have the stuff with Bruce, like kind of like some flashbacks to him in the past, dealing with this kind of Memento case. We see this girl here, somebody Bruce knew at a younger age, this detective or lieutenant from Scotland Yard, Catherine Lautrec, who has personal ties to this whole Memento connection from way back when. Like she became obsessed with the case, kind of like how Batman did. So it's all kind of tying together with like the past and the present. Now she's kind of being brought into the picture, and Bruce has to be a little extra cautious because he knows how intelligent she is, seeing as how he worked with her as like one of his mentors in the past and all that too at a young age. And we're going to kind of find out more about that stuff in the past, but he knows she's pretty smart, and she'd probably be able to figure out that, you know, Bruce Wayne is Batman or something like that. So I'm interested to see kind of their history as we kind of unfold things a little bit too. It was also nice to see Gordon in that, kind of working together with them. So, and this whole Memento character. We also see Bruce and Damian kind of training together, and Damian's just off his game. So like eventually they kind of have to have a conversation right here. And he tells Bruce about how the fact that he's been volunteering at the hospital, and he's been with Dr. Bashar. He asked if I wanted to volunteer, and he forged Bruce's signature. And he's like, excuse me, you did what? Like, why didn't you just, like, I mean, like, Bruce's defense, like, you forged my signature. Why didn't you just come and tell me you wanted to volunteer and stuff? Like, but Damian still won't tell his dad about the stuff with the girl and how it's been affecting him. So yeah, like that's one thing where it's like, come on, Damian, like open up, talk to your father about stuff. You showed him your handwritten fan fiction with you as Damian Vane. Notice that's been kind of dropped from this title. But like you can't tell your dad what you're feeling about that little girl and how you just can't like stop but see her. So there's some stuff going on there. Like Damian just like, I'm not quitting. It's just, I don't know what I want to do. I'm like, you were my age. You kind of walked across to figure out like what your path was like. And he's like, so he kind of like leaves at one point. Like, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like when Dick Grayson left being Robin to become Nightwing. I'm not sure if Damian's going to get like a new code name or anything like that, or if he's just going to retire. I don't see him retiring. I mean, this is a Batman and Robin book. You want to see Bruce and Damian go on adventures. Although some people would probably like to see him leave altogether so we can just get Tim Drake and Batman and that. But, Tim's been kind of in the Batman pages with Zdarsky and all that. Let Bruce and Damian kind of have this book right here. We also go back to Arkham Tower. It's not the asylum anymore, it's just the tower. And they go to interrogate Jonathan Crane about this Gravedigger's Poppy type thing, which is something that this Memento character seems to be using. Maybe that's kind of what's causing these hallucinations, or maybe it is a pure supernatural thing. I kind of almost like torn. I'm like, do we want it supernatural? Do you want to kind of a little bit grounded with the sciencey approach? A part of me almost kind of wants a little bit of a supernatural like kind of twist to it, make it a little bit scarier. Now, not to say like I want every Batman story to be like this, because like I said, I like the ground stuff, but I also like a little bit of fantastical. But like I said, there's still like the detective aspect going on here, but there's still kind of a little bit of that. Maybe it's supernatural. It's kind of like when the Phantasm showed up in like Batman Mask of the Phantasm. At first, you're kind of unsure about it, but then you kind of find out, okay, yeah, it's somebody like who's actually doing this stuff, kind of like some illusion stuff going on here. So we'll see kind of like what happens like as a result of that. So we interrogate Scarecrow, and it's a really cool interrogation scene. But there was one person who was kind of at the crime scene, was like kind of living in fear, so he kind of pulls a gun out of him, and he's like, I'm sorry, Memento, and then like tries to blow things up. And then we see Memento's kind of right there. And like I said, Memento kind of reminds me, if you took like the Crooked Man and the Babadook and kind of fused them together. I really like this design. Like, this is a really genuinely like creepy looking character. And honestly, like I said, it kind of reminds me a little bit of that the Doom that came to Gotham a little bit. And I think I remember an interview where Philip Kennedy Johnson was talking about like some sort of like influence in that story kind of being brought forth into this one. And you can kind of see that a little bit too. Like, it's definitely got a little bit of that horror aspect, the supernatural touch to it all. And sometimes, like, I don't want that for Batman all the time, because I like kind of him dealing with kind of the more grounded aspects at times, but also kind of some fantastical things like the supernatural stuff. Like, he works like every once in a while I want a good like supernatural like Batman related story. Like, you can incorporate like even that Batman Santa Claus one, they bring in like the Gentleman's Ghost, which I thought was kind of cool. But here it's like I said, it's still a detective story, ties back into Bruce's past, and the character stuff that he's doing with Damian, and the conflict that they have here, they're kind of a little bit at odds. It feels a little bit more natural. It's not like done obnoxiously like a few years ago when Damian left the Robin thing at the end of that Teen Titans run, which it was just an excuse to kind of regress his character over and over and over again. Like, it was just kind of tough to read, because originally they wanted to make him like a villain of 5G, which is really stupid, and then they kind of backed out on it, and then eventually got to be Robin. And like, he's been in a pretty good place as a character really the last couple of years compared to where he was at before. It's kind of weird, because like him and John kind of like switched places. At first John was kind of okay, and then Damian went in like this massive path of like regression, and now John is just like almost like beyond saving, it feels like. But Philip Kennedy Johnson is writing something pretty good right here, and I think this is the best issue of the 3 so far, and I'm excited to see what happens next. Like, I'm really digging the hell out of this Batman and Robin stuff right now. Especially the horror aspects to it, and just kind of like the self-reflection and a little bit of that introspection that Damian's kind of doing with himself about like what he wants to be outside of just, vigilante stuff, because he feels like he's not really like doing enough, because that guilt is just kind of plaguing him every time he's on the field. Like, he just can't really get over that, and like, I think he doesn't really want to like this job, this, like the life of a vigilante, like, it takes a toll on you. Like, Damian's always somebody who's like rather focused, and like, a lot of this other stuff just didn't bother him. But now that he's kind of getting a little bit older, and he's kind of like thinking about like his inability to like kind of get things done, because he had a little bit of a cockiness to him. Like, you do want some of that sass with Damian. That's kind of one of his defining characteristics. But now he's just kind of feeling a little bit like more humbled, I'd say. Like, now it's like all that like confidence and that just kind of like going away a little bit too, because it's been kind of challenged, because he thought, okay, I saved everyone, I'm pretty cool. But it's like, no, I didn't. Like, in a way he did, because the girl is still alive, but like, she got hurt really badly, and she may or may not make it, and he feels incredibly responsible for that, because like, he just couldn't do enough, and that's just really kind of plaguing him. And I mean, this is something Batman's kind of gone through, I'm sure, like a couple times. Like, how does a hero move on from like being unable to kind of save somebody, like that one person? Like, how does that affect you going forward? It's really affecting him right now too, and it's coming at like kind of like the worst time because we have this Memento character who ties into Bruce's past, and Bruce, we got stuff with him, we got stuff with Damian. It's doing a good job kind of balancing the two storylines. I feel like I kind of want to know, like, I want to see in the next issue Damian at the hospital and doing some of that volunteer work, because I feel like we kind of need to see it exactly what he's doing. Now, this Dr. Bashar character, maybe he has some suspicious, sneaky stuff going on too. Because even if a character showcase is like very nice early on, just kind of like an everyday person, you always know, like in the back of your, I'm always like kind of waiting for the moment, like, okay, what's going to happen with them? Where's the twist and all that too? Because sometimes they just don't showcase like just generally nice people, and sometimes there's like ulterior motives, but we don't know 100% for sure. So, but I'm just saying, like, keep that in the back of your mind a little bit. That's at least what I'm going to do when it comes to that character and all that too. So, yeah. But anyways, I really dig in this thing. I don't know what you all think, but post your comments down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to it for more content, all the other fun stuff. I got like 2 more DC comic reviews I want to get to covering, and then I'm pretty much all caught up for the week, which is nice to actually kind of get stuff done a little bit earlier. So yeah, look forward to all that stuff. But anyways, that's all I have to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out, everyone.